I am Vasil Lomachenko. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation. What's going on, guys? So the last time I reported news on Roman Gonzalez, it was shortly following his win over Carlos Cuadras. HBO's Max Kellerman, he asked Roman Gonzalez after the fight, he said, the WBO undefeated champion, he came here to watch you fight live and he's calling you out. Will you fight Inoue next? Roman Gonzalez, he said, sure, of course, I'll fight him, and et cetera, you know, the typical talk. And a couple days later, he then said, I will most likely be facing Estrada instead of Inoue in a rematch because I don't think they're going to offer me enough money to fight against Inoue, right? Now that's what he said immediately following his last fight. This is what he's saying today. Today, Roman Gonzalez is basically saying he's not going to fight any of these guys. Inoue, Estrada rematch, Carlos Cuadras rematch, because he doesn't believe he's been compensated enough when it comes to money. So let me go ahead and quote exactly what Roman Gonzalez had to say. Quote, for 2017, they're talking about the rematch with Estrada, with Inoue too. But there is a lack of money in the negotiations, and we are not going to fight for a small purse. We will only fight for a big purse, and I think we deserve it. And then Roman Gonzalez, he goes on to say this: I'll take any of those 3 fights, but the problem is they do not want to pay us what we deserve. I have no problem fighting them. The biggest problem is the money, and that's what we'll need to work out. Everyone has the right to say whatever they want. I respect their opinion. If that's what they think, what are we going to do? That's going to be a tremendous fight. I saw his fight this Saturday. If we face each other, it's going to be a good fight, and I will win. End quote. Let's go ahead and talk about this money situation when it comes to Roman Gonzalez. You know, Roman Gonzalez, I think, unfortunately, he needs to realize that despite the fact that ESPN, HBO, and a lot of the boxing fans, they have praised Roman Gonzalez so much, Roman needs to understand he is not a star. He's not a star. I mean, if you go walk into the grocery store, you go walk into your local bank right now, and you ask the average person, do you know who Roman Gonzalez is? Most of them will say, no, I don't know who he is. So Roman has to understand that he got a good win over a good opponent. He stepped up in weight, and all of that is good, but he didn't beat a star. And he sure didn't beat a pound for pound top 10 fighter. Roman is going to have to understand what he is worth. And all he can really do is keep winning. You're in a division where you don't really have an equal, you know, even though I know he is a good opponent, but even that type of win is not going to really catapult Roman Gonzalez into superstar status or even star status. I mean, to be honest, if Roman Gonzalez, and I'm not saying he has to do this, but if he really, really, really wants to be a star, he would have to beat someone like a Guillermo Rigondeaux. You beat someone like Rigo, then you could become a star. If Roman Gonzalez was fortunate enough to fight as a featherweight, then he could be a huge star. But unfortunately, because Roman Gonzalez is in these very, very small weight classes, there is no one there to help him become a star. All he can do is keep winning until there is another Roman Gonzalez that he can fight and beat. Because see, the whole thing is, all of the hype is on Roman Gonzalez right now. Gonzalez, he needs to fight someone else that has that type of hype. So basically, Roman Gonzalez, he's saying, at least in my opinion, I just had this very close call fight with Carlos Cuadras, and man, if I'ma even come close to losing, if I have to step up and face tougher competition, I really want to be compensated for it. But once again, Roman has to understand he is not a star. And you could partially blame this on HBO and ESPN for constantly praising this man over and over and over again. There's no doubt about it, Roman Gonzalez is a great fight. But they praised this man like he was a superstar, and now Roman Gonzalez is starting to talk like he's a superstar. The win he had over Carlos was a great win, but it wasn't like Mayweather beating Oscar De La Hoya. It wasn't like Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson. You didn't beat a cash cow star. And that is the only way you're going to transition into a star, is by beating a star. Now, if he was in the middleweight division, if he was in the welterweight division, that would be different. But of course, if you're in those divisions, especially if you're in the welterweight division, there's already a whole bunch of stars and challenges there. So, I mean, the whole thing is Roman Gonzalez, he's in a situation where he has no choice but to keep facing the best competition and keep winning if he wants to stay relevant. I mean, can you guys imagine if Andre Ward, let's say, for example, hypothetically, Golovkin, Kovalev, they were all calling out Andre Ward. And Andre Ward said, you know what? I'm not going to fight for some small purse. I'm only going to fight for a big purse. So I'm not going to fight any of these guys unless I am well compensated. Now, we already know Andre Ward is fighting Kovalev, and you still have decafs calling him a cherry picker, and they're still talking about who he fought in the past, etc., etc. So if Andre Ward were to talk like Roman Gonzalez, we already know what they would say about Andre Ward. It's really unfortunate to me that you have a fighter like Roman Gonzalez who, once again, people like HBO and ESPN, they are praising this man to death. And at the same time, they're still basically introducing Roman Gonzalez to the mainstream fans. Now that Roman Gonzalez is starting to get a buzz, this is usually the time where we see him step up in competition. And while everyone else is stepping up in competition, like the Terrence Crawfords, the Errol Spences, the Sergey Kovalevs, the Andre Wards, Roman Gonzalez, he's threatening to face even weaker competition if he does not get the money that he deserves. Now, I don't know how much Roman Gonzalez is getting paid, but once again, if Roman Gonzalez wants to remain relevant, he's going to have to face a real serious level of opposition. Because we already know that when you look at all these other fighters, they keep stepping up in competition. So let's see what happens. I really want to see him against Inoue. That is a very, very good fight. I once again feel that, I don't know if I said this already in the video, but if not, if I did, I'm going to say it again. Roman Gonzalez, I truly believe that when he fought against Carlos Cuadras, he realized how much of a close call that was. And he said to himself, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to get well compensated for losing. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say Roman doesn't have confidence in his ability, because I know he does. But reality is reality. And Roman Gonzalez, he knows how close that Cuadras fight was. And he knows that Inoue may be much better than Carlos Cuadras. So this is the reason why he's saying, once again, if I'm going to be in a fight where there's a chance that I could possibly lose, the risk is that goddamn high, then you guys better give me a big ass purse. And that's exactly what Roman Gonzalez is saying right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I really hope that Roman Gonzalez doesn't just start fighting tomato cans because, you know, he wants a certain amount of money to step up in competition. That's all I got for now, and I'm on to the next one, y'all.